Have you ever stopped to think that you're living the same week on repeat? Wake up, work, go home, sleep, repeat. Everything neat, everything in line, nothing out of the ordinary ever happening. Now imagine waking up one day and realizing you can read minds, or fly, or teleport to Japan in the blink of an eye. Tempting, right? But what if those powers also painted a target on your back? What if the government was hunting you down? What if you discovered you weren't alone? That there was an entire conspiracy involving people just like you? That's exactly the hook of Heroes, the series that shook up TV back in 2006 by showing ordinary people dealing with extraordinary abilities. No Gotham City, no distant planets, just New York, Tokyo, Las Vegas, real people, real problems, suddenly pulled into something so much bigger than themselves. The catch? The show started like a rocket and quickly turned into a roller coaster. Season 1 is a masterpiece. The others, well, let's just say they had their ups and downs. A writer's strike, repetitive storylines, wasted potential. But through it all, Heroes never stopped delivering emotion. It always made us believe anyone could be special. So buckle up. Today we're diving deep into the entire series. It all begins with a group of random people around the world discovering superpowers in a more grounded version of X-Men. In Madras, India, genetics professor Mohinder Suresh learns that his father, also a scientist, has died in New York. Suspecting murder, Mohinder travels there to investigate and discovers his father's research on evolved humans, all while being followed by a mysterious man. In New York, Isaac Mendez, a heroin-addicted artist, believes he can paint the future. His girlfriend Simone doubts him until he paints an ominous mural of a nuclear bomb exploding in Manhattan. In Las Vegas, webcam stripper Nikki Sanders is on the run from thugs with her son Micah. Later, she blacks out during a confrontation with them and wakes up to find them dead. Bizarrely, her reflection in the mirror takes on a life of its own and tells her to stay quiet. In Tokyo, office worker Hiro Nakamura discovers he can stop time and teleport. Unlike the others, he loves his powers, and to prove it to his skeptical friend Ando, he teleports from a Tokyo subway train directly to Times Square in New York. In Odessa, Texas, cheerleader Claire Bennett discovers she is immortal, regenerating from any injury. She and her friend Zach record her abilities until she saves a man from a burning train and walks away completely unscathed. Finally, hospice nurse Peter Petrelli dreams he can fly, despite the skepticism of his brother Nathan, a congressional candidate. To prove his theory, Peter jumps off a building. Nathan flies up to save him, revealing his own power, but loses control and ends up dropping his brother in a free fall. Meanwhile, Mr. Bennett, Claire's father, is busy stealing the videos that show his daughter's powers. Mohinder uncovers a program of his father's that leads him to Sylar, the man with a hunger for powers. A total red flag. Matt Parkman discovers he can read minds when he helps find a missing child, but the FBI arrests him, thinking he's the culprit. Peter wakes up in the hospital, confused, and with no idea how he ended up there. Nathan shows up, trying to cover it up by claiming he managed to stop his brother from jumping, but Peter realizes right away that it isn't true. Later that night, the two meet on top of a building. That's when Nathan drops the act and reveals the truth. Peter can fly too. Hero accidentally travels to the future and witnesses a nuclear explosion destroying New York. He finds Isaac dead and a comic book that details everything that's going to happen. In the present, a still-living Isaac tries to convince Simone about the explosion, but she gives him an ultimatum. It's either her or the heroine. Claire dies after being impaled by a tree branch, ends up on an autopsy table, and the coroner pulls the branch out only for her to simply come back to life.
There is hope and trust that when you have served its needs faithfully.
And frankly, I found this power way too overpowered. Hero returns to the present and uses the comic book from the future to prove everything to Ando. The duo decides to head to the US to save the world. Peter and Simone kiss in the rain, a scene Isaac had already painted in a premonition. Mohinder and Eden find Sylar's apartment filled with maps to locate people with powers, but when they return, everything is gone. Matt convinces an FBI agent of his telepathy. They find Sylar and shoot him multiple times, but he just gets up and walks away. Later, Matt encounters a mysterious man whose mind he cannot read and instantly passes out. Mr. Bennett and a mysterious man interrogate Matt. When Matt learns about Claire, he's ordered to have his mind wiped. Heavy company vibes. Peter finally figures out his power works through empathy. He mimics abilities. Mohinder warns Nathan that he's in danger, connecting everything to the book Peter showed him. Nikki is given a mission by Mr. Linderman to seduce Nathan as part of a blackmail scheme. Her Jessica personality takes over and records everything. Claire wakes up in the middle of her own autopsy and flees, traumatized. The grand finale, Peter is on the subway when time stops. A future version of Hero appears with the message that will define everything. Save the cheerleader, save the world. After the car crash, Claire and Brody survive. At the hospital, she tells her father that Brody attacked her. Despite promising not to do anything, Mr. Bennett and the mysterious man visit Brody and completely erase his memory. Later, Claire confronts him, but he doesn't recognize her and doesn't even know his own name.
Brody, it's me, Claire.
Why do you keep calling me Brody?
Matt Parkman wakes up on his couch with no memory of the previous day. Reading his wife's mind, he discovers she still cares about him and goes to buy her favorite ice cream. At the store, he foresees a robbery and convinces the thief to give up. However, the other customers blame him, and the avalanche of thoughts in his head causes him to faint. In the desert, Hero and Ando argue after the beating they took, and Ando leaves. In Las Vegas, Nathan Petrelli uses his power of flight to escape an abduction attempt by Mr. Bennett, landing right in the diner where Hero is. After talking about powers and New York, Nathan gives Hero a ride. Back in Vegas, he turns the tables on the blackmail scheme, demanding double the money from Mr. Linderman. Nikki wakes up confused in Nathan's room, discovering her debt has been paid and seeing the tape of her and him. When she returns home, she's met by the police. The situation worsens when Ando shows up looking for the internet stripper, and shortly after, her fugitive husband, D.L. Hawkins, appears for real. Meanwhile, Peter remembers future Hero's message and goes to Isaac's apartment. Since Isaac can't paint, Peter uses his mimicking ability to copy the power and paints himself. The result is a terrible vision. Claire, dead, with the top of her head cut open. The phone rings. It's present-day Hero. Peter answers.
My name is Peter Petrelli. I have a message for you.
The problem? The painting they need to find the cheerleader has been sold by Simone. In Las Vegas, Hero and Ando are forced to help a high roller cheat at poker. When they see another player is armed, they flee in terror amid the chaos, and Hero feels like a coward. Meanwhile, Mohinder gives up his investigation to return to India. Eden says goodbye with a kiss, but soon receives a call from Mr. Bennett. The order is clear. Stop Mohinder from leaving and bring in Isaac, whom he calls a precog. In Texas, Mr. Bennett sets up a fake meeting between Claire and her biological parents. Claire learns nothing about her powers, but her adoptive mother, Sandra, starts to find the whole story very suspicious. Back in Vegas, D.L. Hawkins and Nikki reconcile, only to find D.L.'s old gang dead. Nikki's alter ego confesses in the mirror that she was the one who stole the money, framed D.L., and killed everyone. She tries to run away with their son, Micah, but D.L. catches her. The ensuing fight reveals their powers. Nikki has absurd super strength, and D.L. can phase through solid objects. He subdues her by phasing his hand into her abdomen just as Micah enters the room. Nikki faints, and D.L. flees with their crying son. To top it off, Eden shows up at Isaac's door, pretending to be a fan of his work. Peter dreams of Charles DeVoe, a father figure, but is awakened by his daughter Simone with the news of his death. The two go to Isaac's empty apartment looking for a painting, and Simone reveals that her father believed Peter would save the world, something he doesn't remember. The crucial detail: the painting was sold to a man named Linderman. Meanwhile, Nathan is in the middle of his campaign with his wife Heidi, who is in a wheelchair due to an accident he caused. The tension rises when Peter blackmails him. Either help him get the painting back, or he'll reveal to the world that Nathan can fly. Later, Nathan ignores a call for help from Nikki and confesses to Peter that he was attacked in Vegas by a guy in horn-rimmed glasses and a creepy European, fearing his powers would be exposed. In Vegas, Nikki wakes up to find DL and Micah gone. Desperate, she shatters a mirror to release Jessica, her alter ego, who takes control. Far away, DL uses his phasing power to save someone in an accident, where Hero and Ando are also present. Hero stops time to help. Micah fixes a payphone with his power and calls his mom, but it's Jessica who answers, threatening the boy to find out his location. Matt Parkman, suspicious of his wife, investigates a man emitting radiation, Theodore Sprague, with Agent Audrey. He uses his power to calm Sprague during the arrest. The peace is short-lived when he hears his partner's thoughts and discovers he slept with his wife, which results in a punch. To top it off, Claire Claire's younger brother finds the tape of her healing, staples her hand to test it, and upon seeing the regeneration, freaks out and calls her a freak. Mohinder returns to India and discovers he had a special sister named Shanti who died as a child. In his dreams, a young Indian boy reveals who killed his father, a man with a broken watch. Spoiler, it's Sylar. Speaking of the devil, Hiro and Ando meet Charlie, a waitress who has just gained a photographic memory. There's a spark between her and Hiro, but sitting literally at the next table is Sylar with that same broken watch. The result? Charlie is found dead with her brain removed. Hiro, devastated, tries to go back in time one day to save her, but he messes up badly and ends up much further in the past. Matt discovers that Ted Sprague, the radioactive man, also has the same strange marks on his neck as other heroes, meaning the company is collecting them all. Ted escapes custody, Matt is suspended, and his wife confesses to the affair. Talk about a bad day. But the real bombshell comes from Bennett, who reveals that Claire is adopted and that her biological mother had powers and died. Even worse, he knows Sylar is coming to kill Claire the next day. To try and stop it, he forces Isaac to paint the future by getting him high on heroin, with Eden's help. Meanwhile, Claire is painting a banner for homecoming, completely unaware of the storm that's about to hit. At the homecoming dance, Claire is crowned queen thanks to Zach's campaign among the unpopular crowd. Her rival Jackie taunts her, and Claire responds with a punch to the face. Far away, DL and Micah stop for a meal, but Micah disappears from the car. It's the work of Jessica, who is practicing with a sniper rifle to hunt down DL and get her son back, terrified of her own reflection.
We're going hunting.
Meanwhile, Ando, waiting for Hiro, finds a photo of his friend with the waitress Charlie taken 6 months ago, realizing he's stuck in the past. In India, Mohinder cracks his father's computer password, Shanti, the name of his deceased sister. He finds the list of all the heroes his father discovered. Back in the US, Nathan tries to protect Peter by destroying the painting that predicts his death, but Simone had already photographed it. Seeing the photo of himself bloody and fallen, Peter heads for Texas, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Zach convinces Claire to skip detention and go to the dance. In the locker room, Sylar attacks Jackie, thinking she's the cheerleader with powers. Claire tries to intervene, is thrown aside and regenerates in front of him. Sylar realizes his mistake, brutally kills Jackie, and advances on Claire. Peter arrives to save her, and they both fall from the top of the bleachers, recreating the painting scene. On the ground, Peter heals instantly due to his proximity to Claire, and they finally meet.
What's your name?
Peter?
I'm Claire.
Sylar flees but is captured by Eden and the Haitian. Amid the chaos, Peter is arrested for Jackie's murder. Hiro tries to go back in time one day to save the waitress Charlie, but overshoots by 6 months, landing in the past on her birthday. To convince her he's from the future, he predicts the outcome of a Japanese baseball game and, in a pure flex, stops time and fills the diner with 1,000 origami cranes. It's the ultimate nerdy pickup line, all to get her to believe him and come with him to Japan. Meanwhile, Claire is in the middle of some cheerleader drama with her friend Jackie. The fight over a uniform heats up and Claire's hand goes through a glass door, resulting in a trip to the hospital. Shortly after, Mr. Bennett receives a sinister call from Dr. Chandra Suresh, who wants to talk about Claire. Elsewhere, we meet Gabriel, a watchmaker desperate to be special. After Dr. Suresh tests him and says he's nothing out of the ordinary, Gabriel gets pissed and steals the address of Brian Davis, another name on the list. Finding Brian, who has the power of telekinesis, he introduces himself as Sylar, kills him, and, like an evil Kirby, steals his power. Confident, he returns to Suresh, moves objects with his mind, and declares, "We can change the world." Mr. Bennett reveals to Claire that he knows about her Wolverine-like power and was just trying to protect her from other dangers, asking who else knows the secret. Meanwhile, Eden, fed up, ignores Bennett's orders and decides to confront Sylar alone. Hiro and Ando arrive at the school and find the aftermath of Sylar's attack. Hiro despairs, believing he has failed his mission to save the cheerleader, save the world, and fears that because of him, the world is doomed. Arrested and under interrogation, Peter has a hallucination and sees his brother Nathan transform into Sylar. At the same time, Nikki and DL's fight escalates. Jessica shoots him, and he uses his intangibility to escape with Micah. Feeling guilty, Nikki Nikki turns herself in to the police. Eden's mission fails drastically. When she tries to use her power of persuasion on Sylar, she is captured. To prevent him from stealing her power, she shoots herself in the head. A major revelation occurs. The Haitian, who everyone thought was mute, speaks to Claire, confessing that he erased everyone's memories on her father's orders, but spared her. To wrap things up, Peter has a vision of himself exploding in New York and collapses. 2 weeks have passed, and Peter remains in a coma from absorbing too many powers. Claire, meanwhile, fakes amnesia so her father won't find out the Haitian protected her. To mend her friendship with Zach, she uses her classic move. She jumps from a high place in front of him, letting her healing power do the rest. The police, led by Matt Parkman, raid Mr. Bennett's paper company looking for Sylar but find nothing. Meanwhile, Nikki is in jail, facing the death penalty. After freaking out and breaking a guard's baton with her bare hands, she is transferred to a mental institution. Hiro and Ando arrive in New York searching for future Hiro's sword. They stop time to steal it from a museum, only to discover it's just a cheap replica. Elsewhere, Mohinder learns of Edom's death and is visited by Mr. Bennett, who proposes an alliance to decipher his father's research. Suddenly, Peter wakes up from his coma in the middle of an apocalyptic vision. He escapes from the hospital and heads into the streets, where he encounters a man invisible to everyone else. As he gets closer, Peter also becomes invisible. Nikki is in a straitjacket, praying to God for help. The lights go out, and Jessica's voice echoes,
"Who needs God when you've got me?"
Nikki remains in custody, where a psychologist diagnoses her with multiple personality disorder, but Nikki rejects it. Meanwhile, DL struggles with being a single father and paying the bills. He tries to get her out of her cell, but she insists on staying so he can take care of Micah. The boy, in turn, uses his power on an ATM to withdraw a hefty sum of cash, making peace with his father by handing over the rent money. In the end, Nikki accepts the psychologist's help, on the condition that she speaks directly with Jessica. Matt tells his wife about the mess at Primatech and his powers, but she reacts with disbelief. Pressured by internal affairs and with no one to believe his story, Matt gives in and says he made it all up, resulting in a 6-month suspension. At home, he fears for his marriage, but his wife lets him read her mind, revealing a surprise: she's pregnant.
We're having a baby?
Claire and Zach search for her biological mother. The Haitian gives them a clue. Mr. Bennett said she died in a fire 14 years ago, leading Claire to wonder if her mother also regenerated. The search leads them to Meredith Gordon, who reveals she is pyrokinetic by lighting a cigarette with her finger. At home, Claire's adoptive parents are suspicious of her excuse about a report on manatees. Hiro and Ando are kidnapped. They are offered tickets back to Japan, but Hiro refuses to abandon his mission. They are then taken to the man behind the kidnapping, his own father. In New York, Peter begs Claude, the invisible man, to help him control his powers. Claude refuses, but changes his mind after Peter escapes from Nathan and Mohinder, who wanted to use him as a guinea pig, and finally agrees to train him. At the hospital, Mr. Bennett is informed of Sylar's death, but when he returns to the room, he finds another body in its place. Bennett then comes face to face with Sylar, very much alive, who threatens him with a smile.
How's Claire?
A lawyer from Linderman gets all charges against Nikki dropped, and she returns home, overjoyed, to DL and Micah. The problem is that Jessica is the one in control, pretending to be Mickey in a sinister facade of a happy family. Peter's training with Claude is hard mode. To teach him to fly, Claude shoves him off a building. Peter splatters on a taxi, but instantly regenerates thanks to Claire's power. He understands that to use the powers, he needs to remember the emotions people made him feel. The idea backfires, causing an ability overload and a vision of himself exploding. Panicking, Peter starts to lose control, and Claude knocks him out with a punch to prevent a disaster. Isaac paints this exact scene. Peter on the taxi, with his leg turning invisible. He calls Mr. Bennett, claiming he's found Peter and a way to stop him. Hearing about the invisibility, Bennett figures it out instantly. It means an old friend isn't as dead as we thought. At home, Claire realizes her mother's memory has been wiped again. She finds a shard of glass from Sylar's attack and looks at Mr. Bennett with pure hatred, understanding he's responsible. The trust between father and daughter is shattered. To end on a high note, Meredith, Claire's biological mother, calls the girl's father to tell him their daughter is alive. The person who answers on the other end is none other than Nathan Petrelli. The soap opera just got a bombshell new chapter.
need to talk, Nathan.
The shocked politician recognizes her voice, though he thought she had died in a fire 14 years ago. Meredith believes the fire was arson and used it to fake her own death. Now, with the election approaching, she blackmails him for $100,000 to keep quiet. Nathan, with no choice, agrees. Mistress Bennet's health worsens, and Claire blames her adoptive father. The tension escalates when Claire calls Meredith and learns her biological father has been found. Meanwhile, in New York, Nathan's mother, Angela, forbids him from meeting Claire, fearing a scandal. Ignoring her, he goes to Texas, gives Meredith the money, and asks to see his daughter. Meredith lies, saying she already sent her home. Nathan gets emotional seeing a picture of Claire but decides not to meet her. The problem? Claire was hiding, listening to everything. Devastated, she throws a rock at the limousine's window as he drives away. Matt Parkman has become a bodyguard for a thief who stole diamonds from Mr. Linderman. The assassin hired by Linderman to handle the problem is Jessica. During the chase, Matt hears the internal argument between Nikki and Jessica and thinks they are two different women. He arrests Jessica, but she tricks him, saying Nikki went to kill the target. Matt runs, but it's too late. He finds the body and the diamonds the thief tried to use to bribe him. Hearing the disdainful thoughts of another officer, Matt decides to keep the money. Mohinder gets a call from Zane Taylor, a man on the list who is terrified of his power to melt things. But Sylar gets there first, kills Zane, steals his power, and assumes his identity. When Mohinder shows up, Zane appears calm and in control, offering to help find other special people. It's the fox in the henhouse. In Las Vegas, Hiro and Ando meet a woman named Hope, who convinces them to retrieve a bag for her in exchange for a meeting with Linderman. Hiro is suspicious, ends up locked in a closet, and Ando flees with the con artist. To wrap up, Claire returns home to find her mother, her memory failing, no longer recognizes her, and Jessica, back to her life as an assassin, receives a photo of her next target, Nathan Petrelli. Yes, she's been hired to kill her landlady's daughter's father.
Not a problem. Consider it done.
In the desert, Ted Sprague receives a message on his laptop, even without internet. It's from Hannah, an Israeli woman who can access wireless signals with her mind. She reveals that the marks on their necks are Primatech trackers and convinces him to team up with her to find Mr. Bennett and make him history. Meanwhile, Claire's mother suffers from memory blackouts, forgetting her daughter and the dog before returning to normal. When Claire tries to talk about the brainwashing, she finds her mother passed out on the kitchen floor, in an increasingly grim situation. In New York, Mr. Bennett discovers Peter is invisible and goes to hunt him with the Haitian, leaving a gun with Isaac and the mission to save the world.
Save the world.
On the rooftop, Peter trains with Claude and discovers he has telekinesis, a power inherited from Sylar.
Push that way with your mind. Which one of your sorry friends has telekinesis?
The training is interrupted by Bennett, but Peter uses his new power of flight to escape with Claude, realizing it was Isaac who turned him in. Elsewhere in the city, after some confusion, Ando is shot. A desperate Hiro reverses time to save his friend. Realizing the danger, he sends Ando back to Japan and heads to Las Vegas alone.
Hey, young fella. All by yourself?
Yes, just me.
The plotlines connect when Matt Parkman teams up with Ted and Hannah to investigate Primatech. At the same time, Mohinder continues his journey with Zane, unaware that he's Sylar, who takes the opportunity to kill another person and steal the power of super hearing. It all culminates at the Bennett house, where Claire confronts her father. He confesses that his lies were to protect her from Sylar, but the argument is interrupted by Matt and Ted's invasion. Simultaneously, Isaac, trying to shoot the invisible Peter, hits Simone, who dies in Peter's arms in a chaotic and tragic ending. At the Bennett house, Matt and Ted hold the family hostage, demanding answers about Primatech. A shocked Bennett discovers that Claire's memory wasn't erased, and she reveals to Matt that her father has a double life and that she has powers too. The plan splits. Ted, the human bomb, guards the family while Matt takes Bennett to Primatech for proof. There, Bennett confronts the Haitian about his failure with Claire. While they retrieve the files, the Haitian frees the family. Upon their return, Thompson, Bennett's boss, appears and shoots Ted, who loses control and emits extreme heat, setting the house on fire. Later, at Primatech, Thompson plans to test Ted to his limits and proposes that Matt, with his mental powers, become Bennett's new partner. What an offer! On a bridge, Bennett orders the Haitian to shoot him to fake a kidnapping and, most importantly, to erase from Bennett's own mind any information information that could lead the company to Claire, a father's sacrifice to protect his daughter. After Simone's tragic death, Isaac, consumed by guilt, tries to kill Peter again, but he turns invisible and escapes. They each go their separate ways to deal with their grief. Meanwhile, Mr. Bennett wakes up with no memory of the kidnapping. His boss, Thompson, is suspicious, but the hostage, Matt Parkman, confirms Bennett's amnesia. Thompson forbids him from looking for Claire, reminding him she was just an assignment. However, Bennett had planned the memory loss. He returns home and sets a trap, revealing his plan to destroy Primatech to his wife, who is actually the shapeshifter Candace in disguise, resulting in his capture. Claire manages to ditch the Haitian at the airport and goes to Peter's apartment. There she meets Angela Petrelli, who drops a bombshell.
Who are you? I'm your grandmother.
We learn that Angela and the Haitian have been working together all along to protect Claire. In Las Vegas, Hiro finally retrieves the sword with the help of Ando, who reappears as a security guard. Thrilled, he teleports with his friend to New York, but their timing is terrible. They land in a future where the city has been destroyed by the explosion. Nathan's plan to use the FBI to arrest Mr. Linderman is sabotaged by Jessica. Alone, Nathan confronts Linderman, who reveals he knows about the entire family's powers and offers him the presidency of the United States, leaving him tempted. In the climax, Mohinder captures Sylar, only to discover he was faking it the whole time and breaks free. Shortly after, Peter arrives at Mohinder's apartment to find him pinned to the ceiling. Before he can react, Sylar immobilizes him from behind and says,
I'd like to see how that works.
Bennett is captured and the company sends Candace to pose as Claire to mess with his head. Meanwhile, Nathan gets the full picture when he visits Linderman. The man has healing powers and reveals his insane plan to blow up New York to unite the world through fear. He wants Nathan to become president after the tragedy. In Mohinder's apartment, Peter discovers he has absorbed regeneration and telekinesis, but Sylar stabs him in the back of the neck with a shard of glass. When Claire pulls the glass out, Peter regenerates instantly. Meanwhile, Sylar kills Isaac and steals his precognition. Welcome to the future. Hiro and Ando arrive 5 years later, where New York has been obliterated and President Nathan hunts people with powers. Future Hiro reveals that Peter was the one who exploded, and when Claire meets Nathan, we discover it's Sylar in disguise. He killed the real Nathan and stole his identity. The fake Nathan kills Claire right in front of them. Peter reveals that he was the one who exploded and that the original Nathan tried to protect him by blaming Sylar. Future Hiro dies trying to save the present, and the current Hiro returns, determined to change this apocalyptic timeline.
これからが本番だ。
Back in the present, Hiro finds Isaac's body and is nearly killed by Sylar, who now has precognition. The villain uses his new power to see that he will absorb Peter's explosion in the future. On a total downward spiral, Sylar visits his mother, accidentally kills her, and this shatters what little humanity he had left. Hiro hesitates when he has the chance to kill him, and loses his powers when Sylar breaks his sword. Peter learns about Ted and plans to use Claire as a secret weapon. If he starts to explode, she can absorb his power. Angela, the Petrelli matriarch, reveals that she supports Linderman's plan to make Nathan a leader. Peter nearly loses control when he absorbs radiation from Ted, but manages to hold it together. Hiro, with his broken sword, calls his blacksmith father, Kaito Nakamura, in one of the most epic phone calls of the series.
My name is Hiro Nakamura, and the fate of the world is in your hands.
Sylar hands Ted over to the FBI, but intercepts the transport and kills him to steal his nuclear power. Now he is literally a walking bomb. D.O. kills Linderman by crushing his brain, but is injured in the process. Bennett kills Thompson from the company. Sylar tests his nuclear power and lets out a sinister boom.
Boom.
And we finally arrive at the final showdown in Kirby Plaza. Angela tells Nathan that even with Linderman dead, the plan is still on. Peter argues with Nathan, who has given up on stopping the explosion. Hiro returns from Japan, ready for the final battle. Peter starts to go nuclear, and Sylar arrives for the showdown. Matt shoots at Sylar, but he stops the bullets in midair. Nikki smashes a parking meter over the villain's head.
Stop me?
When all seems lost, Hiro appears and runs Sylar through with his sword, but Peter is still exploding. Claire hesitates to shoot him until Nathan flies in, grabs his brother, and carries him away just before the explosion.
You ready?
A trail of blood shows that Sylar has escaped through a manhole. 4 months have passed since the explosion in New York, and everyone's lives have been turned upside down. The Bennett family is now living undercover in California. Claire is trying to be a normal teenager, which is next to impossible when you can't even get a scratch during cheerleading practice. Meanwhile, her dad Noah has gone from hunting superhumans to working at a copy shop, basically the most humiliating job in the world for him. Then there's Nathan Petrelli, who has become an alcoholic politician who sees a burnt Freddy Krueger version of himself every time he looks in the mirror. He's convinced Peter is dead, and the guilt is weighing on him. Elsewhere, Matt Parkman is now a detective, and along with Mohinder, has become Molly Walker's babysitter. The girl is having nightmares about a boogeyman who, she claims, is even more sinister than Sylar. Apparently, Sylar was just the warm-up. Meanwhile, Hiro Nakamura completely miscalculated his time travel trip and ended up in 1671 Japan. He was hoping to meet the legendary hero Takezo Kensei, only to discover the guy is just a British mercenary who only cares about money. To make matters worse, Angela Petrelli and Kaito Nakamura receive death threats. A mysterious hooded figure appears and shoves Kaito off a rooftop, and just when you think you've seen it all, thieves in Ireland open a shipping container and find Peter Petrelli chained up alive and with no idea who he is.
Who are you? What's your name?
I don't know.
Peter is being held hostage by Irishmen who think he stole a shipment of iPods. During the interrogation, he discovers he can use multiple powers at once. He phases through ropes, moves things with his mind, and shoots energy blasts. He strikes a deal to help them with a job in exchange for his freedom. Claire is testing the limits of her regeneration and casually cuts off her own toe just to watch it grow back. West, a boy from her school, sees the whole thing through her window. Mohinder is now working for the company and travels to Haiti to cure the Haitian, who has been infected with the Shanti virus. The Haitian resists at first, but eventually accepts his help. In feudal Japan, Hiro dresses up as Kensei to save Yaiko. He stops time and single-handedly disarms 11 bandits, creating the legend of the Battle of the 12 Swords. But afterward, the real Kensei gets hit by a shower of arrows and heals instantly. He has regeneration, just like Claire. Matt finds Angela Petrelli's fingerprints at Kaito's crime scene. While interrogating her, he reads her mind. We did something terrible, and now someone wants revenge. Shortly after, Angela is attacked by an invisible force. Noah Bennett is in possession of a series of Isaac Mendes's paintings that depict future deaths. The tables have turned. Peter is in the middle of a heist with the Irish crew, but he uses telepathy to discover that Will is going to betray everyone. And that's exactly what happens. Will shoots Peter twice, but Peter regenerates from the bullets like it's nothing and uses telekinesis to pin the traitor to the wall. As a reward, he gets a gang tattoo that bizarrely changes into the helix symbol when he kisses Caitlin and then vanishes. Glitch or hidden meaning. West confronts Claire about her regeneration. She admits she's different, and he responds by scooping her up and flying away, revealing he has powers too. They land on a beach and kiss, but Claire notices a scar on his neck. West drops a bombshell. He was abducted by the man in the horn-rimmed glasses, aka Noah Bennett, Claire's dad. Super awkward. Sylar is on a paradise beach with Michelle, but it's all an illusion created by Candace while he recovers. Frustrated and powerless, he tries to attack Candace with a broken mug to steal her ability, but fails miserably. The big bad has been officially nerfed. Maya turns herself in at a police station to save her brother. Her deadly power activates, killing everyone in the building. Alejandro revives them all, and they escape with a prisoner in the same car Noah gave Claire. It's a small world. Noah finds Isaac's last painting. It shows Noah's death from a gunshot to the eye. Seriously creepy. Out of nowhere, Angela Petrelli shows up and confesses to killing Kaito Nakamura. But Matt, who is basically a human lie detector, reads her mind and realizes it's all an act. She's protecting someone or something much bigger. To help the investigation, Nathan gives Matt a photo of the old guard of heroes, a group called the 12, which includes the Petrelli parents, Kaito, Linderman, and even Matt's father, a man named Maury Parkman. Then we meet a new character, Monica, living in post-Katrina New Orleans. She discovers she has the incredible power of muscle mimicry. Think Marvel's Taskmaster. She can perfectly copy any physical action she sees. During a robbery at work, she uses a pro wrestling move she saw on TV to take down the crook.
Awesome.
Elsewhere, Claire continues her secret romance with West. The two are flying romantically over the Hollywood sign, living their own super-powered fairy tale. But back on Earth, Noah is growing increasingly paranoid, suspicious of everything his daughter does. Meanwhile, in the middle of the desert, Maya and Alejandro find a broken, powerless Sylar. Without a second thought, Sylar kills the guy they were with, Derek, who had Claire's car, and introduces himself to the siblings as a savior. The master manipulator is back in the game. Matt asks Molly to use her human GPS ability to find his father, Maury, using the photo. The girl completely panics and reveals the truth. The boogeyman from her nightmares is Maury Parkman himself. As she tries to locate him, he mentally attacks her, sending her into a catatonic state. It seems Matt's dad is bad news. Peter finally opens the mysterious box and finds a passport, a one-way ticket to Montreal, and a photo of him with Nathan. Confused, he accidentally activates his powers and paints a picture of himself with Caitlin in Montreal. It seems destiny is calling, and he's answering with a paintbrush. Meanwhile, a new character arrives to stir things up. Elle, played by Kristen Bell from The Good Place. She has electrical powers and is hunting Peter with a thirst for revenge that would make Pikachu jealous. When Ricky, the pub owner, lies to protect Peter, Elle simply welds the pub doors shut with electricity and fries the guy to death. The message is clear: don't mess with this blonde. Witnessing what happened, Peter decides his hiding phase is over. Elsewhere, Matt recruits Nathan for a family rescue mission. Save Molly from their father, Maury, who has trapped her in a telepathic nightmare. But Maury is like an evil Professor X, far stronger than Matt. He traps both his sons in mental prisons, Matt in a jail cell with his ex-wife, and Nathan on a rooftop in a post-apocalyptic New York. In reality, they're just beating each other up. Nat manages to break into Nathan's mind and shatter the illusion, freeing them both from the mental trap. We have Monica being interrogated by the police. Micah reveals his technopathy and explains the concept of powers to her using a comic book, which is pretty meta. And at the company, Mohinder takes a comatose Molly, ignoring Noah's warnings. Nikki breaks into the facility to attack Bob, but ends up getting neutralized by Mohinder himself. What a mess. After all that chaos, things are looking bad for Hiro in feudal Japan. Kensei has tied him up and is forcing him to inhale opium smoke like some kind of evil hookah to block his time travel powers. Apparently, Kensei made a deal with someone called Whitebeard to divide Japan, like a pact between Disney villains. But Yaeko, who is no damsel in distress, breaks free and saves Hiro. Once recovered, Hiro teleports to the enemy's armory to blow up their weapons but comes face to face with Kensei. A sword fight breaks out, a lantern falls, the fire spreads, and everything goes boom. Hiro gets out before the explosion and only finds Kensei's charred helmet. Game over for him. Cut to 2008, and New York looks like a set from The Walking Dead. Peter and Caitlin are walking through empty streets. A deadly pandemic, the Shanti virus, has wiped out 93% of the population. This is the apocalypse, people. Peter finds his mother, Angela, and starts having flashbacks, finally remembering her. In the midst of the chaos, he tries to save Caitlin from a deportation line, but accidentally activates his powers and teleports back to the present alone, leaving her trapped in the dystopian future. Big mistake, Peter. Meanwhile, West sees Claire's dad coming home and freaks out. Claire tells him the truth. Her father is the man who abducted West years ago. Shocked and feeling betrayed, West just flies away. At home, Mr. Bennett scolds Claire and tells her they need to move, but she angrily refuses. At the company's headquarters, Matt and Nathan arrive with a file on Maury Parkman. Bob explains that Adam Monroe, one of the company's founders, is trying to kill everyone. Matt, with his evolved powers, enters Maury's mind, where he's been holding Molly prisoner in a nightmare, and turns the tables, trapping the villain in his own dream. However, Nikki, under Maury's control, injects herself with the virus. Back in Montreal, Kensei appears, very much alive, and reveals himself to be Adam Monroe. Peter, still with amnesia, has no idea who he is, and Adam delivers the kicker.
Don't you remember? You and I are going to change history.
A major flashback episode, explaining how we got into this whole mess. 4 months ago, we see Nathan flying with a radioactive Peter in his arms, about to explode. Nathan starts getting severely burned by the radiation, and Peter, to save his brother, lets go. He explodes in the sky, but regenerates in time to catch Nathan before he hits the ground. At the hospital, Peter is captured by Elle and Bob from the company. They promise a cure and spend 4 months giving him pills to suppress his powers. In the next cell, Peter befriends none other than Adam Monroe. Adam, a master manipulator, convinces Peter the company won't help. Peter stops taking the pills, gets his powers back, and the two escape together. Adam even uses his regenerative blood to heal Nathan's burns. During the escape, the Haitian finds Peter, but instead of taking him back, he erases the guy's memory and locks him in a shipping container, an act of kindness according to him. That explains Peter's memory loss. Remember DL? He survived the gunshot from season 1. The family tries to start over, with the company footing the bills, but a new personality of Nikki's, Gina, emerges and heads to Los Angeles to party. DL becomes a hero firefighter, but tragedy finds him when he tries to rescue Nikki from a nightclub and gets shot and killed. A sad end for the guy. Finally, we learn the origin of Maya and Alejandro's powers. At Alejandro's wedding, Maya discovers the bride is cheating on her brother. When the bride's lover confronts her, Maya's power erupts for the first time. Her eyes turn black and she kills everyone at the party except her brother. Months later, Alejandro finds her in a convent and discovers he can neutralize her power, creating their bizarre and deadly duo. The company is closing in on the Bennetts, and Claire refuses to run. Typical. Bob and Mohinder want her blood to cure the Shanti virus and call in Elle, the lightning girl, to help with the capture. Hiro refuses to accept his father's death and time travels to the moment of the murder. Kaito talks about having the power of gods, but not playing God. Hiro discovers the killer is Adam Monroe, the immortal he met in the past. Matt's powers have evolved massively. Now he doesn't just read minds, he can plant ideas in people's heads. He tests this power on Molly, his partner, and even Angela Petrelli. Claire's capture goes down at the beach. Noah and West, her flying boyfriend, form an unlikely alliance. Isaac's prophetic painting comes true. Mohinder shoots Noah right in the eye. But then comes Claire's miracle blood. Noah is resurrected and completely healed, eye and all. Basically a full-on Wolverine healing factor. Peter and Adam are on a road trip to find Victoria Pratt, the last living founder of the company. The goal? Find out where the Shanti virus is located. But Victoria is no fool. The second she sees Peter with Adam, she knows it's bad news and shoots them both. She's about to finish Adam off, Highlander style, but Peter stops her. He reads her mind and learns the virus is in Odessa, Texas. That's when Adam shows his true colors. He kills Victoria and reveals his Thanos-level plan to cleanse the world with the virus. Meanwhile, Hiro tells Ando that Adam Monroe is actually the immortal samurai Takezo Kensei. To prove his point, he travels to 1977 and witnesses his own father locking Adam away for trying to steal the very same virus. The guy's a longtime villain. In another storyline, Sylar is training Maya to control her deadly power. Her brother Alejandro finds some newspaper clippings about Sylar's murders and confronts him. Bad idea. Sylar casually erases him from the story with a knife and then calls Mohinder to blackmail him. The company tries to fool Claire's family by delivering what they claim are Noah's ashes. Claire doesn't buy it, confronts Elle, and threatens to expose everything, revealing her powers to the entire world. At the same time, Monica decides to become a real-life hero, complete with a makeshift costume, but her first night of crime fighting ends with her captured by a gang. Peter and Adam arrive in Odessa, but Hiro appears, stops time, and lunges with his sword, ready to avenge his father.
You have chosen the wrong side.
No!
Angela, the Petrelli matriarch, explains that 30 years ago, Adam decided the world needed a reset and the founders had to lock him up, like a superpowered Hannibal Lecter. Despite this, Peter, still in rebellious teen mode, opens the vault containing the Shanti virus. Adam reveals his evil master plan: release the virus to give the world a second chance, which in practice means killing everyone. Nathan finally manages to get through to Peter and convinces him that Adam is just a cheap manipulator. The moment Adam lets the vial of virus drop, Hiro moves faster than the Flash, teleports them both to a graveyard, and buries Adam alive in a coffin. Game over for the immortal. Peter, now on the right side, uses telekinesis to catch the virus in midair and vaporizes it. GG. Meanwhile, Sylar is forcing Mohinder to be his personal scientist to restore his powers. Maya finds out Sylar killed her brother, and a villain, without a second thought, shoots her.
You killed him? You killed my brother!
To test if Claire's blood works, he forces Mohinder to revive her. Suddenly, Elle shows up and starts frying Sylar with her electricity. He manages to escape, but not before stealing the rest of Claire's blood. Elsewhere, Monica is trapped by a gang that wants to erase her from existence. Nikki, using what's left of her super strength, manages to save her niece, but her strength fails at the last second, and the building explodes. It seems Nikki made the ultimate sacrifice. Speaking of people who don't die, Noah Bennett is alive. He made a deal with the company to protect his family. With Matt's telepathic help, Nathan decides to expose everything at a press conference. But right as he's about to reveal that he can fly, he's shot in the chest.
I have the ability.
To end on a high note, we see Sylar injecting himself with Claire's blood. His wounds heal, his telekinesis returns in full force, and he utters the iconic line, "I'm back." In Manhattan, 4 years in the future, we see Peter, with a nasty scar on his face, breaking into Claire's apartment. The vibe is super tense. She points a gun at him, but Peter swears he can fix everything. Go back to the day the world found out about their powers. But future Claire is over it and shoots him in the face. Except Peter dodges the bullet in slow motion, grabs the gun, and gets out of there. Cut to the present. Future Peter, in disguise, goes to the press conference where Nathan is about to tell the world about the heroes. And bam! He shoots his brother twice in the chest.
The ability.
Present Peter and Parkman chase after the mysterious shooter, who hides the gun and vanishes like a ghost. At the hospital, Claire calls, wanting to help with her miracle blood, but Peter tells her to stay put. Things get bad, and the doctors declare Nathan dead. A devastated Peter goes to say goodbye, and when he kisses his brother's forehead, Nathan sits up in bed, alive and well.
Should have met it this way.
Meanwhile, Claire is at home and comes face to face with Sylar. He survived and now he wants her power. A terrifying game of cat and mouse through the house begins. In the end, he catches her, cuts open her head, and begins to study her brain while she's awake. He gets what he wants. His own wound heals instantly, and he puts Claire's scalp back in place.
You can never die. And now I guess neither can I.
In Japan, Hiro has become a bored CEO. Saving the world twice has left him without a purpose. Then, a DVD from his father arrives with a posthumous mission: guard one half of a formula that could destroy the world. But as soon as he grabs the paper, a blonde speedster appears, knocks Hiro out, and steals the formula. Future Peter reveals himself to Mama Petrelli, who already knew everything. And the big twist, present Peter isn't gone. He's trapped in level 5, in another man's body, screaming that he's Peter Petrelli. Claire is in a really dark place. After Sylar's attack, she can no longer feel pain. For her, pain was what made her feel human. To test if she still has a soul, she stands in front of a moving train. But at the last second, future Peter appears and saves her. He came from the future precisely to prevent these kinds of tragedies. Mama Petrelli has a vision of the future where everyone dies and confronts future Peter about it. She explains the butterfly effect. Because he messed with time, Claire almost became train pace, and the whole world is now in danger. Meanwhile, Mohinder has woken up different. He's clinging to the ceiling like Spider-Man and has freakish strength. He injected himself with the serum and is now loaded with powers. But later, he discovers his skin is starting to peel off. We meet Tracy Strauss, Nikki's perfect doppelganger. She offers Nathan a Senate seat. A reporter shows up with a video of Nikki, thinking it's Tracy, and threatens to expose her. During the argument, Tracy accidentally freezes the guy solid, and he shatters into a million pieces. Looks like she has ice powers, like Elsa from Frozen. Chaos reigns when Sylar breaks into Primatech, kills Bob, and corners Elle and HRG. He shows off his new healing power, the same as Claire's. The fight is insane and ends up freeing all the dangerous villains from level 5. A complete disaster. In the confusion, present Peter escapes with the other villains. Elle manages to capture Sylar, and Mama Petrelli takes control of the company. And for the grand finale, she goes to Sylar and says, "I'm your mother."
You are not my mother.
But I am, dear. I am.
And what's her first act of motherly care? Feeding him a girl with powers to devour. Mother of the year, right? To hunt down the level 5 escapees, she forces HRG to partner up with Sylar. It's like mixing oil and water, but with murder involved. Present Peter is undercover in the body of a man named Jesse, robbing a bank with the escaped villains. But he can't bring himself to be truly evil and tries to control the situation. The gang's leader, who feeds on fear, senses something is off. In the middle of the fight, Peter discovers that the body he's in has a sonic scream. Totally OP. In Berlin, Hiro and Ando find Daphne, but the Haitian shows up out of nowhere and shuts down everyone's powers. He takes half the formula, but Daphne is smarter, steals the briefcase, and bolts. The Haitian captures Hiro and Ando. At the bank, HRG and Sylar arrive to work together. This is where the timey-wimey stuff happens. Future Peter appears, pulls present Peter out of there, and Jesse's body reverts to normal. Sylar completely ignores HRG and kills Jesse to steal his sonic power. Tracy finds the doctor who delivered her and Nikki, and he reveals, "I created you," confirming she's artificial, just like the other versions. To wrap up, Mama Petrelli gives Sylar an agent's uniform, while HRG is already plotting how to kill his new partner. This partnership is going to blow up in their faces. Mohinder wakes up in his lab, and it's clear the serum he took has gone very wrong. He starts having fits of aggression, and when his upstairs neighbor starts yelling at his wife, Mohinder goes up there and beats the guy so badly he only stops when the woman begs him to. Yeah, looks like the scientist has turned into the Hulk, just without the green skin. Meanwhile, Tracy discovers she has not one, but two identical twin sisters, Nikki and someone named Barbara. A doctor with a classic movie villain accent explains they were subjects in a DNA experiment to give people powers. She gets pissed, freezes the guy's arm, and leaves. In Africa, Parkman is on a full-blown psychedelic trip. An African guide gives him some weird paste, puts on some music on his iPod, and Parkman goes into a trance, starting to paint the future, and what he sees is not good. He ends up seeing the future through present Peter's eyes, who has traveled 4 years forward. The world is in chaos, with people flying around and superpowers being sold on the black market. Future Peter barely has time to explain the situation when future Claire, now a brunette with a "don't mess with me" look, shows up and riddles him with bullets. Present Peter escapes and goes looking for Sylar, who, believe it or not, has become a suburban family man, complete with an apron and everything. After a fight against future Claire's crew, the city of Costa Verde explodes in a mushroom cloud. Peter manages to return to the present, but now he has Sylar's power, and the hunger that comes with it. He goes straight to Sylar's cell and immediately shows him who's boss. To top it all off, Hiro and Ando, tired of being locked up, are sent on a mission by Mama Petrelli and end up digging up the villain Adam Monroe. Literally. Peter, renewed, goes after his own mother Angela, demanding that she reveal all her secrets. And who shows up to save the day? Sylar himself, who breaks Peter's neck. Just a little, he heals. Shortly after, HRG appears and forms an unlikely duo with Sylar to hunt down the escaped villains. Meanwhile, Claire decides to play hero on her own and goes after a guy named Eric Doyle, who has the power to control people like puppets. Obviously, it all goes wrong, and she, her mom, and Meredith end up captured. Speaking of villains, Mohinder is looking more and more like a monster from a horror movie. Maya discovers he's been kidnapping people and trapping them in disgusting cocoons on his lab wall. When she calls him a monster, he attacks her. Far away, Nathan and Tracy discover a shocking truth. Nathan's powers aren't from birth. Mama Petrelli reveals that he was also an experiment. Just like Tracy. Disappointed, the two decide to seek out Mohinder to see if he can help. Little do they know the mess they're walking into. In the end, the big reveal, the person who has been manipulating everyone, appearing to Daphne and Nathan as the deceased Linderman, is actually Parkman's father, and he's not acting alone. He works for a mysterious man in a hospital bed, none other than Arthur Petrelli, Nathan and Peter's father, who everyone thought was dead. To prove he's a badass now.
Whatever you say goes, Mr. Petrelli.
Hiro gets a mission from Daphne, kill Ando, but it's all a master trick. He stops time, swaps the sword for a fake one, and covers his friend in fake blood. Daphne buys it and sends Hiro to Africa to find the man who paints the future. Meanwhile, Papa Petrelli, now up and recovered, receives his first gift, the immortal Adam Monroe. Arthur simply touches Adam, who turns to dust, aging 400 years in seconds. With that, Papa Petrelli steals the power of regeneration and becomes good as new, ready to assemble his army of villains.
Feels good to breathe again.
Sylar tries to be the good guy and wakes Peter from his coma, wanting to help him control the hunger. But Peter is loving his new power and doesn't want advice from anyone. He beats Sylar up and leaves him behind, heading straight for the villain's headquarters, Pinehurst. Nathan and Tracy make the mistake of asking Suresh for help, who injects them with a paralyzing substance. In Africa, Hiro and Ando try to capture the precog, but the guy predicts their every move. It's a comedy of errors. Hiro sees a painting of himself getting hit in the head with a shovel, and when he turns around, he gets hit with a shovel. In the grand finale, Peter arrives at Pinehurst ready to crash the party. He finds his father, whom he thought was dead. Arthur Petrelli opens his arms for a hug, and Peter falls right into the trap. The moment they embrace, Papa Petrelli simply sucks all of Peter's powers out of him, leaving him to collapse on the floor.
You don't have your powers anymore, Peter, because I have them now.
Hiro and Ando are practically having a heart-to-heart in Africa about going back in time to save the world. The African man appears and basically says, "Figure it out yourself, or fate will figure it out for you." Suresh is pissed at Nathan and Tracy in his lab, thinking their synthetic powers can cure Maya. The two are sick of being lab rats. A fight breaks out, and Suresh literally throws everyone through the glass ceiling after freeing Maya from her cocoon. Peter wakes up in handcuffs and comes face to face with his father. Papa Petrelli, or Papa P as we'll call him, confesses he stole Peter's powers for the greater good. Peter tells him that in the future, the plan to give everyone powers turns into a total disaster, but Papa P grounds him anyway. At the Bennett house, Claire and her mom arrive to find Elle sparking, losing control of her powers. After a quick scuffle, which Claire's brother solves by throwing water on Elle, she confesses she needs help and has heard about Pinehurst. Claire, who also feels like her powers are glitching, decides to go with her. At Pinehurst, Papa P heals Maya, but she's furious with Suresh. Papa P recruits Suresh to perfect the power formula. Meanwhile, Mama Petrelli, in a coma, enters Sylar's mind and tells him to save Peter. Just as Suresh is about to inject Peter with something, Sylar appears, saves his brother, and then Papa P reveals that Sylar is his son.
I do, but he's also my son.
Sylar is so confused that he throws Peter out a window several stories down. Claire, who was just arriving with Ella, sees the whole thing and runs to help. Peter survives but doesn't heal. He's really lost his powers. We discover that Daphne, Parkman's girlfriend, has been working for Papa P all along. And now, for another time travel moment, courtesy of Hiro of course, who ate some weird paste and is now seeing the past. We enter his vision and land 1 year before the current events. There, we see Papa Petrelli and Linderman plotting to get rid of Nathan, who is investigating their shady business. Papa P's plan is clear. If talking doesn't work, he'll kill his own son. But the main course is the origin story of Sylar and Elle's romance. We see Sylar trying to kill himself, feeling like a monster, but Ella appears and saves him. They form a connection, but there's a catch. Elle is working for HRG the whole time on a mission to understand how Sylar's powers work. In the Petrelli family drama, we see that the car accident that left Nathan's wife paralyzed was, in fact, Linderman's doing, on Papa P's orders. When Mama Petrelli finds out, her husband uses his powers to mind control her and make her agree that Nathan needs to die. Back in the present, Hiro wakes up from his trip screaming murder, but is forced back into the vision. Linderman, with a shred of conscience, heals Mama P's mind, and she remembers everything. Her plan for revenge is simple and effective. Poisoned lentil soup. Papa P doesn't actually die, he's just paralyzed, and a corrupt doctor helps fake his death, complete with a funeral and all. Meanwhile, HRG forces Elle to bring a victim to Sylar, and that's where things go south. Sylar loses control, kills the guy in front of her, and becomes the monster we know. Hiro's trip ends. He and Ando find the body of their African guide, headless, and who should appear? Papa Petrelli himself, who says,
I understand you've been dreaming about me.
but he gets distracted by a drawing on a rock and Hiro manages to escape with Ando. The problem? Hiro now thinks he's 10 years old and all he cares about is waffles. Meanwhile, at Pinehurst, Papa P locks Sylar in a cell with Elle. The idea is for him to learn empathy. She unloads all her fury on him, blasting electricity everywhere. Sylar, surprisingly, takes it all. In the end, he manages to feel her pain, forgives her, and absorbs her power without having to open anyone's head. A new ability unlocked. Peter and Claire are on the run from Knox and Flint through the sewers. Peter uses his head. He breaks open a gas pipe and lets Flint, the Flame Man, do the rest. They escape. Parkman enters Mama P's mind to try to wake her from her coma. Inside, he's confronted by Papa P disguised as Daphne, but the real Daphne declares her love for him and helps him save Angela. The whole gang reunites at the hospital. Peter, Claire, Parkman, Daphne, Nathan, and Angela, who has finally woken up. She explains that Papa P's evil formula needs a catalyst, a special person who serves as a power source. It dawns on Claire instantly, remembering Sylar said she was different. I think it's me. We see all the villains gathering with Papa P as an eclipse begins to cover the sky. The message is clear. It is coming.
It's coming.
Arthur sends Sylar and Elle to hunt down Claire, while Angela hatches a plan to protect their network. Mohinder is turning into a disgusting, scaly monster and begs Arthur for a cure, which will only happen if he can secure the sample from Claire. Arthur shows a prophetic drawing of a blood-soaked Claire in HRG's arms and warns, she will die today because of the eclipse. And when the eclipse begins, everyone loses their powers. Peter and Nathan fall from the sky, while Sylar and Elle become normal humans on the spot. In a confrontation with HRG and Sylar, Ella grabs a gun and shoots Claire, who, for the first time in her life, doesn't heal and is left bleeding for real. HRG takes his daughter in his arms, exactly like in Arthur's drawing. The tables have turned completely. No one has superpowers anymore, and the indestructible Claire is as vulnerable as any mortal. Things kick off in the jungle, with Peter wanting to rescue Nathan and the Haitian focused on hunting his own brother. Meanwhile, Claire is in the hospital in critical condition. The girl who couldn't get hurt is dying. HRG, for his part, has gone full Terminator and is hunting Sylar and Elle, who are now just a normal couple running for their lives. Nathan has been captured by the Haitian's brother, some guy named Baron Samedi, who thinks he's a god. Over at Pinehurst, Mohinder takes advantage of Flint also losing his powers, knocks the guy out with a microscope, and escapes. Elsewhere, Hiro and Ando end up in a comic book shop and run into none other than Seth Green and Breckin Meyer. The comic they're reading chronicles exactly what's happening to them, in a very Deadpool-esque vibe. In the midst of the chaos, Daphne reveals to Parkman that she has cerebral palsy and could only walk because of her superpowers. It's a super tense and sad moment, but then the eclipse finally ends. The light returns, and with it, everyone's powers. Claire, who is with one foot in the grave, heals instantly, just like Wolverine. With his powers back, Sylar shows he hasn't changed a bit. He takes Elle to the beach, says people like them never change, and, well, he kills her. Back in the past, with Hiro and Claire watching her baby version being handed over to HRG. It's a Back to the Future scene, only much weirder. Meanwhile, in the present, Sylar is on a killing spree to gain new powers. He absorbs a woman's ability and can now tell when someone is lying. Imagine the damage. Angela, the mother of the year, hands Peter a gun and tells him to kill Arthur, just like that. Meanwhile, Nathan arrives at Pinehurst and stages a coup, taking control of his father's company. His plan? To create an army of superhumans for the government, starting with a Marine as the first test subject. Peter and the Haitian invade Pinehurst. Peter points the gun at Arthur, ready to shoot, but the bullet stops in mid-air, in true Matrix style. Who shows up? Sylar. He faces Arthur and asks if he's really his father. With his new power, he detects the lie instantly. He turns to Peter and delivers the coldest line possible. "You're not a killer, Peter. I am." And with a gesture, he releases the bullet, which goes straight through Arthur's head. Nathan is kneeling beside his dead father, and Peter is holding a gun. Nathan thinks he did it, but Peter blames Sylar. The two start arguing about their father's plan, with Peter wanting to destroy the formula and Nathan wanting to move forward with it. The argument heats up. Peter points the gun at his brother, but at the last second, instead of shooting, he just throws a punch and knocks Nathan out. Meanwhile, at Prime Primatech, HRG assembles a squad with Meredith, Claire, and Angela to help Peter, but as soon as they enter the room, they come face to face with Sylar in control. He locks everything down, turns off the lights, and starts a little horror game over the intercom, like Jigsaw from Saw. He announces he's going to prove that everyone there is a monster, just like him. In the midst of the chaos, Hiro is still stuck 16 years in the past, having a chat with a pigeon. In the present, Ando, Daphne, and Parkman are looking for him and end up at Mohinder's apartment. Daphne, impatient, steals the formula from Pinehurst and gives it to Ando, who doesn't think twice and injects himself. The result? He passes out on the spot. Back at Primatech, Sylar's game gets darker. He corners Meredith, injects her with adrenaline, and causes her fire powers to spiral out of control. To make matters worse, he locks HRG in the same cell with her, trapping him with a human time bomb. The mess at Pinehurst also blows up. Flint and Knox join Peter to destroy the lab, but Tracy shows up and shatters Knox into tiny pieces of ice. The lab catches fire, and to save Nathan from the flames, Peter injects himself with the formula, regains the power of flight, and gets out of there with his brother in his arms. In the end, Claire manages to catch Sylar by surprise and stabs a shard of glass into the weak spot on the back of his head, the one she had mentioned before. With the villain down, the group flees as Meredith explodes, taking Primatech with her. 3 weeks later, Nathan Petrelli is in a limo with none other than the President of the United States, planning to hunt down and imprison everyone with powers. The hunt is about to begin. Everyone's life has been turned upside down. Tracy is at home when she sees Nathan on TV, talking about national security like he's Captain America. Seconds later, a squad storms her apartment. The group's leader removes his mask, introduces himself as Danko, the hunter, then shoots her with a tranquilizer dart and informs Petrelli,
Tell Petrelli we got the first one.
in Tokyo, Hiro has set up a superhero base and wants Ando to be his partner, complete with a Lycra uniform and an Ando cycle. Ando thinks the idea is ridiculous, takes the bike, and heads to a strip club. It's there that he sees Hiro being abducted by Danko's men. Meanwhile, Peter has become a paramedic. Claire is being pressured by Angela to go to college, and Sylar has found his supposed father, who reveals he's not the real dad and sends him to find his uncle, Samson. As for Matt Parkman, he's trying to live a normal life with Daphne, but his African spirit guide appears and informs him that he is now a prophet who paints the future. Claire discovers Nathan's plan to capture everyone and rushes to warn Peter and Matt, but it's too late. Mohinder, now a taxi driver, is captured with the help of HRG, who has betrayed everyone and is working for the government. Peter falls into a trap set by his own brother and is also caught. Matt is attacked at home just after Claire arrives to warn him. Even Sylar, upon arriving at his uncle's house, finds out it was a setup, but being Sylar, he easily takes out the soldiers. All the captives are put on a cargo plane, hooded and sedated, ready to be taken to a secret prison. Nathan gives Claire a free pass, but she doesn't take it and infiltrates the plane. Inside, she frees Peter, who starts absorbing everyone's powers, causing total chaos. He ends up freezing the plane's fuselage, which cracks and rips open a giant hole. With the depressurization, the aircraft begins to plummet toward the ground, with everyone inside screaming. The story picks up 43 hours after the crash. Nathan is on the phone explaining that the plane went down and Claire caused a hell of a mess. In flashbacks, we see the scramble at the crash site. Hiro, Mohinder, and Parkman manage to escape together, while HRG confronts Claire and Peter but ends up letting Peter get away. To erase the evidence, missiles destroy what's left of the plane. Danko has taken over the operation and changed the rules. Now it's shoot to kill, no questions asked. The heroes are regrouping. Peter teams up with Tracy. Parkman goes into a trance and draws that Daphne is in for it. Elsewhere, Sylar breaks into a house and finds Luke, a kid who's like a human microwave. The boy becomes fascinated with the serial killer and hits the road with him to find Sylar's real father. An insane shootout breaks out at the crash site. Daphne gets shot, so does Claire, and Parkman completely loses it, making the soldiers shoot each other. Peter escapes with Nathan as a hostage, but Tracy is captured. HRG lets Claire go, telling her to live a normal normal life. But soon after, she receives a message from someone calling themselves Rebel, urging her to save a guy named Alex at a comic book store. She takes off and heads over. To prove she has powers, she cuts her own hand in front of Alex. Right at the worst possible moment, HRG shows up. A chase ensues, and they manage to escape. Meanwhile, Sylar is on a road trip with Luke, who's enjoying the ride listening to Born to be Wild and wanting to stop for pie. Sylar loses his patience and tells him, straight-faced, that he's a serial killer. Luke, instead of running, thinks it's the coolest thing ever, but the joy is short-lived. A traffic camera catches Sylar's face and sends it straight to Building 26. In India, Hero tries to stop an arranged marriage, but Ando accidentally resolves the situation. The pissed-off groom kidnaps Ando, but Hero manages to save his friend even without powers. Claire's mom kicks HRG out of the house after discovering his lies, and HRG, drowning his sorrows at a bar, is drugged and kidnapped by Peter, Matt, and Mohinder.
We'll get him home safe.
HRG is tied to a chair while Matt, Peter, and Mohinder interrogate him. Matt uses his powers to dig into HRG's mind, and we see the memories. 5 weeks ago, Angela dissolves the company and gives HRG a gold watch, basically saying, "Thanks for your service, now get out." But the guy doesn't know how to live without the job. 4 weeks ago, Nathan shows up at HRG's house with a heavy-duty plan. Use the government to hunt down everyone with powers. HRG, missing the action, agrees and shows him a secret stash of weapons and files. In the present, the mood is tense. Mohinder thinks this is torture. Matt wants revenge, and Peter tries to stop them from killing each other. Peter goes to the stash house but discovers it's a trap. He manages to escape by flying. 3 weeks ago, HRG meets Danko, the new head of the operation, a cold man who trusts no one. Matt discovers that HRG tried to recruit Mohinder, who refused, and gets furious that Mohinder never told him. Peter corners Danko in his apartment, but Nathan appears to save the villain. Matt and Mohinder are captured, and the biggest twist, HRG is playing both sides. He's faking his loyalty to Danko, but is actually working with Angela. Matt has a vision and paints the future, himself covered in explosives, about to blow up Washington, D.C. Sylar and Luke find an abandoned diner that triggers a heavy memory for Sylar. In a flashback, we see his father selling him as a child and killing his mother in front of him. Now it's clear why the guy is so messed up. With this revelation, Sylar decides to go after his father to kill him. In Washington, Peter and Matt, guided by the mysterious Rebel, break into Building 26 to rescue Daphne and steal a file proving the government's crimes against people with powers. Peter gets the file and escapes, but Matt is captured. Peter tries to make a trade, the file for the prisoners, but it's a trap set by Danko. HRG tries to warn Peter telepathically, but it doesn't work. A sniper takes aim at him. Nathan flies in and saves his brother at the last second. Peter, furious about the lies, absorbs Nathan's flight power and takes off. The file ends up leaking to the news, exposing the entire secret government operation. Danko's revenge? He drugs Matt, straps a bomb to his chest, and leaves him in a public square, fulfilling the exact prophetic vision Matt had painted earlier. Eric Doyle, the puppet master, shows up at Claire's house, sent by Rebel asking for help. Claire tells him to get lost, but he gives a speech about what it's like to be hunted, before deciding to leave on his own. The tension between Nathan and Danko finally explodes. Matt, high and unable to read minds, doesn't know who to trust. Danko, watching everything, orders the bomb to be detonated to kill Nathan too, but the bomb fails. Nathan cuts the right wire and knocks Matt out so the police don't discover his powers. Sylar finally finds his father, Samson Gray, who is dying of cancer and on oxygen. Samson also has powers and tries to trick Sylar into stealing his healing ability, but it backfires. Sylar sees through the trap, immobilizes his father, and leaves him there to die alone and sick. What a lovely family reunion. Meanwhile, Hero and Ando find a baby who is apparently Matt Parkman. Danko's agents raid the Bennett house, but Claire is already gone, flying away in Nathan's arms. Sylar pulls a psychological move and delivers Eric Doyle to Danko as a gift, showing he's up to something. Meanwhile, Angela and HRG come up with a plan to gain Danko's trust. They'll use Tracy as bait to catch the Rebel. Mohinder is captured and thrown into a room with other heroes in induced comas, including Daphne. The Rebel orchestrates a mass escape and Tracy, Matt, and Mohinder manage to get out. Tracy follows the clues and discovers the Rebel's true identity. It's Micah, the little boy who controlled machines is now a grown-up hacker, but Tracy ended up leading HRG and the agents right to him. Regretful, she tells Micah to run and uses her powers to freeze everything, sacrificing herself in the process. Danko arrives and shatters her ice statue into 1,000 pieces, but her eye blinks before melting. In LA, Hiro and Ando are taking care of Matt Jr., who discovers he has powers and turns on all the toys in the house. When agents show up, Hiro manages to stop time with the baby's touch, and the three of them escape. The heaviest part, Matt finds Daphne dying in the hospital. He enters her mind and creates a fantasy where they fly through Paris to give her a happy ending. She thanks him and dies in peace. Nathan and Claire are hiding out in Mexico, and he's having a full-blown crisis, thinking he's a failure. Claire throws it in his face that he should be fighting, not running. Meanwhile, Danko and Sylar form a bizarre partnership to hunt heroes together. They go after a shapeshifter named James Martin. Sylar uses the guy's power to create a clone of himself and lets Danko kill it with an axe. HRG falls for the trick completely and believes Sylar is dead, but the real Sylar is now embedded as an agent on Danko's side, ready to collect powers without anyone suspecting. Peter and Angela hide in a church, where she confesses that her apocalyptic visions made her lie and manipulate everyone, including her own family. HRG shows up to save them, maintaining his cover. Nathan finally gets his act together, apologizes to Claire, and decides to go back and fix things. The two of them head off to fight together. Meanwhile, Hiro and Ando are on a road trip with baby Matt Parkman, who has an overpowered ability. When he's happy, things work. When he cries, everything glitches, including their car, which dies in the middle of the road. Matt Parkman is in full revenge mode against Danko for Daphne's death. Danko finds another Danko in the bathroom. It's Sylar using his shapeshifting. He transforms into Sandra and serves HRG with divorce papers just to mess with his life. But HRG is no fool. He notices the signature is forged, runs a DNA test on the fake Sylar's body, and figures it all out. Sylar has become a shapeshifter. Matt confronts Danko and uses telepathy to make him confess everything. When Danko is about to shoot Matt, time freezes. It's Hiro saving the day.
Finish it.
Close.
To wrap things up, the Petrelli family and Claire are digging at Coyote Sands in the desert and unearth a skeleton with a gunshot wound to the head. Angela recognizes it and is horrified. We flash back to 1961. A teenage Angela arrives with her sister Alice at a summer camp that's actually a laboratory for human test subjects. The person in charge? Dr. Chandra Suresh, Mohinder's father. There she meets young versions of Linderman and Charles DeVoe. Her sister Alice confesses she has power over the weather and is afraid they'll find out. Angela lies to Alice and runs away with her friends, promising to come back, but she never does. In the present, Mohinder finds his father's files and discovers the old man worked at the camp. Angela explains that the company was created by the survivors to prevent that from ever happening again. A bizarre storm starts. It's Alice, who has been living hidden in a cellar for decades. Angela finds Alice, who tells her what happened. After Angela fled, Dr. Suresh tried to give her an injection. Alice got scared, created a superstorm, and a total massacre broke out between agents and people with powers. Her parents died in the chaos. The family is at a diner trying to reconcile until they look at the television. Sylar is giving a speech pretending to be Nathan. The story then rewinds 18 hours to show how we got here. Sylar is having an identity crisis. From shapeshifting so much, he's starting to lose himself, waking up looking like other people without meaning to. He even pulls out a tooth that isn't his. Danko wants him to lay low, but Sylar wants to be himself. Meanwhile, Hiro and Ando have a brilliant plan to invade Building 26, get captured on purpose. But they discover that when Hiro stops time by touching Ando, Ando doesn't freeze with him. The dynamic duo can now act together in frozen time. Sylar, in disguise, goes after another guy with powers, some dude named Tom Miller who disintegrates things. He takes the guy's power and leaves a message in blood on the wall. To try and find himself, Sylar starts having conversations with his dead mother, except it's actually him transforming into her to talk to himself. It's bizarre, but it's his way of coping with the confusion. Sylar captures the rebel, who is actually Micah. The kid tries to convince Sylar to be a hero, and, unbelievably, Sylar helps him fake his own death and escape from Danko. After another chat with his mother, Sylar decides that to be someone important, he needs to become someone important, and who better than Senator Nathan Petrelli? Meanwhile, the government's plan works. Bohinder's car, Angela, Claire, and HRG are stopped at a roadblock, and Matt is surrounded at home. We cut back to the present, at the press conference. The real Nathan goes to confront Sylar, but Danko appears and shoots the real Nathan with a tranquilizer dart. Danko tries to stab Sylar in the back, but the villain simply pulls the knife from the back of his neck, looks at Danko, and says,
That hurt.
Matt Parkman, in full "I'm done being a hero" mode, tells Hiro and Ando that his son is his priority now, and they're on their own to take down Building 26. But duty calls, and when agents surround his ex-wife's house, Matt realizes that to have peace, he has to get back in the fight. Meanwhile, Hiro tries to invade the base by freezing time, but the power starts to take its toll. He gets a wicked headache and a nosebleed, like Eleven from Stranger Things when she pushes it too far.
Call 911. I've got to get to the stand. I've got to stop Sylar.
On the other side, Sylar is at the peak of his villainy. He even reveals to Danko that his weak spot, the one on the back of his neck, has moved. Basically, he's upgraded his invincibility. The whole showdown moves to Washington. Sylar, as Nathan, tricks Claire, but the real Nathan and Peter arrive to crash the party. The fight is quick and brutal. Sylar simply kills the original Nathan. End of story. But Peter, who's smarter, had already copied Sylar's shape-shifting power, poses as the president, and manages to take the villain down with a tranquilizer. Then comes the craziest plan of the season. Angela and HRG convince Matt to brainwash Sylar. The idea is to erase who he is and implant all of Nathan's memories, turning the murderer into the senator he killed. Matt, despite thinking it's insane, agrees. Everyone burns a fake body of Sylar, pretending justice has been served, while the new Nathan takes his place. But a strange tick he has with a watch leaves Angela with a nagging suspicion. The fourth season begins with a funeral. A guy with a strange accent, who we later learn is named Samuel, gives a eulogy for his brother and talks about finding a real family at a carnival. He throws a compass into the coffin and with a gesture, buries the body. His people leave, heading toward an amusement park. This is the introduction of the new villains. Now, a tour of where are they now? Claire is in college, putting up with an unbearable and super studious roommate named Annie. She also meets Gretchen, a girl from Texas who, much to Claire's dismay, remembers the massacre at school. Claire just wants to be normal, but her room turns into a crime scene when Annie apparently jumps out the window. Claire knows it wasn't suicide. To investigate, she jumps from the same window to test the fall. And who sees it all? Gretchen, who is left speechless as she watches Claire fix herself like a broken doll. Meanwhile, Hiro and Ando have opened a hero agency in Tokyo. The problem is, Hiro's powers are failing and killing him. He accidentally time travels 14 years into the past to a carnival where he meets a young Samuel. Influenced by him, Hiro changes one small detail from the past. Instead of Ando spilling a slushie on Hiro's sister, Hiro is the one who gets drenched. The result, in the present, Ando and Hiro's sister, who used to hate him, are kissing. Hiro now believes his mission is to fix his past mistakes. In New York, Peter is back to being a paramedic, using his powers secretly to save lives. As for Nathan, or rather Sylar and Nathan's body, he's feeling the villain's powers leak out, like telekinesis and electricity. And speaking of villains, Tracy Strauss is on a revenge tour, drowning Danko's former agents. Noah almost becomes a victim, but is saved by Danko himself, who proposes an alliance. Noah refuses and has the Haitian erase Danko's memory.
Not interested.
Not acceptable.
But a new speedster with knives, who works for Samuel, kills Danko to steal a key. Noah and Peter team up to open the safe belonging to the key and find a broken compass. The speedster attacks, Peter copies his power, but the guy gets away. Later, he attacks Noah and finally steals the compass. In the end, Samuel receives the compass and asks his trusted psychic, Lydia, to show him the next targets. On her back, the faces of Claire, Sylar, and Peter appear. Claire is ignoring Gretchen, who won't stop knocking on her door, wanting to talk about what she saw. Meanwhile, Samuel, the carnival leader, gets ready to leave. We discover his power is controlling the earth, and he's going after a new member for his family. This new member is none other than Peter, who is surprised with a negligence lawsuit, and who's suing him. Samuel himself, pretending to be one of the victims Peter saved. Elsewhere, we meet Emma, a deaf doctor who starts to see sounds as colorful lights. She works at the same hospital as Peter and is frightened by this new ability. Matt Parkman continues to be haunted by the image of Sylar, who now taunts him to use his powers again. Sylar helps him solve a kidnapping case but manipulates him to make Matt look crazy in front of his colleagues. In the end, Matt gives in and uses his power to control his partner's mind and get out of a tight spot. Sylar is proud, saying that now they can work together to find his body. At college, Claire finally gives in and tells Gretchen the whole truth, who, surprisingly, thinks it's all incredible, and even asks to see the healing in action. They become friends, and Gretchen becomes Claire's new roommate. Samuel continues his plan against Peter, planting a fake news story in a newspaper to make Peter feel guilty. Peter falls for the trap, apologizes, and Samuel, the master manipulator, withdraws the lawsuit. His mission was just to gain Peter's trust. Later, Samuel uses his powers to create a giant sinkhole that swallows his old house, where he grew up as the son of the staff. Peter is nearby, and suddenly, a compass tattoo appears on his arm. Hiro continues his agency, even knowing it's killing him. His new mission is to stop an employee, Tadashi, from jumping off a building after being fired for photocopying his bud at a party. Hiro goes back in time several times, but Tadashi always repeats the mistake. Hiro then realizes he can't fix everything and instead gives the guy some life advice. After that, he finally tells his sister that he's dying, but then he suddenly vanishes right in front of her and Ando. Peter goes to find Noah to show him the compass tattoo, but it's gone. As he leaves, he uses his super speed in front of Claire, whose jaw drops. Claire, in turn, tries to cheer up her father, who's in a slump. Her advice, to know who you're going to be, you need to remember who you were, inspires him to get back in the game and investigate the compass and the carnival. The same tip helps Tracy, who decides to quit her life as a governor's lobbyist to do something that really matters. The main plot focuses on Nathan, who is having flashes of memories that don't seem to be his. His mother Angela gives him a box of old objects, and upon touching them, he remembers a girl named Kelly who drowned at a pool party. He investigates and discovers it was an accident, but Angela covered it all up to protect his career. Shocked, Nathan tells the truth to Kelly's mother, Millie, but that was a huge mistake. Later, Nathan is attacked, taken to the woods, shot, and buried. And who ordered the hit? Millie herself, who later toasts with Angela to what they call a clean slate.
Package is delivered.
One course. To closure. To closure.
But the story doesn't end there. From the freshly dug grave, a hand bursts out of the earth. It's Sylar, back and in control. A cop, played by the guy from Ghostbusters, arrests him, but Sylar still has his powers. He notices the clocks are out of sync and throws the cop against a wall when he gets aggressive. After a chase, the cop riddles Sylar with bullets, but the bullets push out of his body, and he regenerates in front of a psychiatrist. Peter copies Anna's ability, losing his previous one. The two play the piano together, watching the colors of the music. When Peter gets home, Hiro pops up out of nowhere and collapses. He's clearly dying. Claire tries to live a normal life at college, but Becky, a girl with invisibility, is scheming against her on Samuel's orders from the carnival. Gretchen confesses she has a crush on Claire and kisses her.
I have a crush. I'm crushing.
Lost and amnesiac, Sylar stumbles upon Samuel's carnival, where he's welcomed and told that he's home. Hiro is dying from a brain tumor and believes he needs to help Peter fix something. Peter borrows his time travel ability. Samuel wants to awaken the real Sylar and sends him to the House of Mirrors, where he experiences flashbacks of every murder he's ever committed. Sylar has a complete breakdown and stumbles out, vomiting. Peter and HRG track down Jeremy, who has the power to heal. When they arrive, the boy's parents are dead. Jeremy killed them by accident, and he shoots Peter with a shotgun. Peter stops time, but it's too late. He sees his own body blown apart against the wall. When time resumes, he's riddled with bullets. HRG convinces Jeremy to heal Peter, and it works. Samuel manipulates the fragile Sylar, convincing him that the carnival is his true family. Just as Sylar is about to spare the cop who hunted him, Edgar, the carnival speedster, appears and slices the man to pieces. Sylar is officially baptized into the carnival. Samuel reveals to Lydia that his plan is to build a better Sylar who is loyal to him. Hiro disappears disappears from the hospital, leaving a note, "Save Charlie." Sylar is trapped in Matt's head. The mental Sylar manages to control Matt's body and makes love to his wife, Janice, while Matt is dreaming. Matt discovers that alcohol weakens the mental Sylar and gets wasted, but it completely backfires. Sylar takes full control of his body, and now Matt is just a voice in his own head. Tracy helps HRG break Jeremy out of jail. Samuel appears to her, shows her the carnival, and gives her a compass, offering her a place where she can be accepted. Claire and Gretchen are taken to a bizarre hazing ritual at a slaughterhouse. The invisible Becky attacks again. To defend herself, Claire impales herself on a meat hook, revealing her regeneration powers to the other girls. So much for a normal life. Jeremy is killed by corrupt cops. Tracy loses faith in HRG's plan to hide and begins to consider Samuel's offer. Samuel goes to the police station where Jeremy died and destroys the entire building with his earth-moving powers. Message sent. 3 years in the past, Hero stands outside the diner, spying on Charlie. He's still in his hospital gown, so his first mission is to steal some decent clothes. A kid catches him in the act, and for some reason, Hero tells him his entire tragic love story. The kid is so moved that he gives him a white cowboy hat, because Hero is the good guy. But the piece is short-lived, as a shadow appears, Sylar, ready to cause chaos. Meanwhile, in the present, Samuel's time traveler is dying, so he needs a replacement. He asks Lydia, the tattooed woman, and the image that appears on her back is of Charlie. Samuel realizes that the key to convincing Hero is to exploit this love story. Back at the diner, things turn into a crazy crossover. Hero watches Charlie serve Sylar, who already senses her powers. At the next table is none other than HRG, having a secret meeting with a colleague named Lauren. There's some chemistry and she even books a hotel room, but he turns her down to be faithful to his family. To make matters worse, Samuel appears and pulls Hero aside, warning him that messing with this timeline could blow up the future. Hero doesn't listen. He freezes time and saves Charlie, trapping Sylar in the luggage compartment of a bus. But then he realizes the paradox. If Charlie doesn't die, he never goes back in time to save her, and they never fall in love. A clear nod to Back to the Future. To fix his mess, he finds his past self and tells him to save Charlie 6 months earlier, explaining that she's the Mary Jane to his Spider-Man. But the situation gets complicated. Charlie's aneurysm bursts anyway. The only solution? Free Sylar and make a deal. The villain saves her life, and in return, Hero tells him about his dark future. Sylar, playing the doctor, fixes her brain with a finger. The happy ending, however, is a trap. Just as Hero and Charlie are about to run away together, Samuel appears. He reveals that he used his dying time traveler to kidnap Charlie and hide her somewhere in time. Now, the blackmail is clear. To see her again, Hero must fix a mistake Samuel made 8 weeks ago, a mistake that resulted in the death of Mohinder Suresh. The dust has barely settled from Becky's attack, and Claire and Gretchen are already trying to calm the other sorority girls by claiming they were drugged. In New York, Peter is working as a paramedic, using his healing powers and getting completely drained with each patient. It's like using your phone battery down to 1%. He sees Emma in the middle of the chaos, but she's paralyzed by fear. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, we have the series' oddest couple, Matt Parkman, with Sylar's consciousness trapped in his head. Sylar wants to go to New York to find his body, and Matt tries to sabotage him, which gets them both detained at the airport. Things only get worse when their car gets a flat tire and Sylar, out of patience, kills the tow truck driver just to prove he's in control. Back at the college, HRG and the Haitian show up to help Claire. In full, overprotective dad mode, while they investigate Becky's room, she appears and reveals that HRG was indirectly responsible for her father's death years ago. At the same time, Samuel tries to manipulate Claire by telling her the same tragic story. The tension escalates when Sylar, still in Matt's head, forces him into a diner and threatens the waitress to make Matt confess where his original body is. With no way out, Matt tells him everything. He put Nathan's mind into Sylar's body. But Matt has one last card to play. He writes, "I have a gun" on a napkin, baiting the cops into shooting his body. A suicide by cop plan to get rid of the ghost in his head. In the end, everything falls apart. Gretchen leaves, leaving Claire alone. At the carnival, Lydia informs Samuel that Sylar's body, with Nathan's mind, has disappeared. And to top it all off, Nathan himself shows up at Peter's apartment, completely lost and panicking, saying,
I think I'm in trouble, Pete.
Hero's mission is now official. He's become Samuel's time-traveling errand boy. The task? Go back 8 weeks and retrieve a film that Mohinder Suresh destroyed. The reward? Charlie's freedom. Meanwhile, we see what happened 9 weeks ago. Mohinder, trying to live a normal life as a professor in India, gets pulled back into his father's research. In the present, Tracy is losing control of her powers, freezing everything around her. Desperate, she seeks out Claire. The situation gets so bizarre that Tracy ends up freezing Claire solid, who then shatters into pieces. But since Claire is basically Wolverine, she regenerates, and they even laugh at the absurd situation.
I heal. It's like what I do.
Elsewhere, Peter and Nathan get a visit from the Haitian, who gives them a mysterious address. The location is a storage unit, and inside, they make the most macabre discovery possible: Nathan's dead body. Upon touching the corpse, Nathan has a flashback and sees Sylar murdering him. His mind is blown. They find out Matt Parkman is in a Texas hospital and rush there for answers. At the hospital, Peter heals Matt, who wakes up in a panic, screaming about Sylar. That's when the bombshell drops. Matt reveals he transferred Nathan's mind into Sylar's body. The Nathan we know is actually Sylar with another man's memories. Sylar, still in Matt's head, manages to take control and tries to touch Nathan to reclaim his body. In the chaos, their hands touch briefly before Nathan flies off with Peter, now utterly convinced he's a monster on the inside. Back in the past, we see how Hero completed his mission. He freezes time, swaps the film Mohinder was about to burn, and even saves his life by giving him a bulletproof vest before Samuel attacks. But to keep Mohinder from ruining his plans, Hero has him committed to a mental hospital for 8 weeks. Evil genius. In the end, Hero hands the film to Samuel, who, of course, double-crosses him again. Hero is left without Charlie. Nathan is accepting his Sylar side, and Tracy decides to join Samuel. It's Thanksgiving Day, and the mood is heavier than the turkey. At the carnival, Samuel watches a home movie of his own birth when Hero appears, furious, demanding Charlie back. Samuel, in full movie villain mode, taunts the samurai in Japanese, points to an axe, and suggests Hero freeze time to chop him into pieces. Hero realizes it's a trap and calls him a demon. With a sinister smile, Samuel replies,
"I'm your savior, Hero. You just don't know it yet."
Meanwhile, Noah Bennett is prepping the Thanksgiving turkey and arranging dinner with Claire, who's feeling like a social outcast at college. The dinner will be at his new place, and to make things even weirder, his ex-wife Sandra is bringing her new boyfriend, Doug. To complete the drama, HRG runs into Lauren, his old Primatech colleague, at the supermarket and invites her to join the party. The Bennett dinner promises to be a masterclass in awkward family tension. At the Petrelli house, things are no better. Peter confronts his mother, Angela, about seeing Nathan's body. Her excuse is full of holes. She claims it was a shapeshifter and they needed to hide the body, but Peter doesn't buy it, and Nathan himself joins the conversation, demanding answers. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Back at the carnival, Lydia convinces Hero to travel back in time to uncover the truth about the death of Joseph, Samuel's brother, and what they see is shocking. Samuel, in a fit of rage, murders his own brother with a rock. In the present, during dinner, Samuel accuses Edgar of being the traitor. Hero, afraid of what might happen to Charlie, doesn't tell the truth and even helps Edgar escape. The climax of the drama unfolds at the Petrellis. Nathan's body begins to fail, and suddenly, Sylar takes control.
Feels good to finally be me again.
He pins Peter and Angela with his powers and gleefully eats some pie, but Nathan is still in there, fighting. In a final act of sacrifice, Nathan regains control for a moment and jumps out the window, hoping to end Sylar once and for all. At the carnival, Lydia knows Samuel is a murderer but keeps quiet to protect her daughter. Samuel, feeling he needs more power, promotes Eli, a guy who can clone himself, to be his new right-hand man. His first mission? Break into HRG's apartment and steal a box of files. Meanwhile, HRG's date night with Lauren goes down the drain when he realizes Claire stole the mysterious compass. Using her CIA contacts, Lauren tracks Claire's phone and discovers she drove for 21 hours to get to Samuel's carnival. Elsewhere, Peter isn't playing around. He finds the Haitian and copies his ability-blocking power. The plan is simple: hunt down Sylar, neutralize him, and bring Nathan back. The fight between them is brutal, with Peter even pinning Sylar to the floor with a nail gun. He then uses the Haitian's power to erase Sylar's mind, and for a moment, it seems like Nathan has truly returned. Back at HRG's apartment, Eli's clones attack. HRG and Lauren turn into an action duo, trading gunfire with the multiple enemies, but the clones manage to escape with the files. Peter takes Nathan to a rooftop, reminiscing about the old days, but Nathan says he can no longer fight Sylar. He apologizes, says goodbye to his brother, and jumps off the building.
I'm sorry, Pete.
Nathan!
As he falls, his face transforms back into Sylar's. The body slams into a car, but the one who rises from the wreckage, unharmed and with a victorious smirk, is Sylar. He simply waves at a devastated Peter. At the carnival, Claire is increasingly enchanted by the community. Feeling she has finally found her place, her friend Gretchen finds it all very suspicious and decides to leave. Claire, however, decides to stay a few more days. She has no idea that this decision is part of Samuel's master plan, which culminates in an inspiring speech promising a permanent home for his family.
We will finally be home.
Claire's honeymoon with the carnival is already souring. She starts to suspect Samuel after finding her father's files in his trailer. To make matters worse, the omnipresent clone, Eli, never takes his eyes off her, proving the freedom Samuel promised was a complete lie. With a little push from Lydia, Claire decides to investigate. She gives Eli the slip in a hall of mirrors, breaks into the trailer, and finds not only the files, but a suspicious map of the desert. Before she can figure out the plan, Lydia reveals the truth. Samuel killed his own brother. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Hiro's brain has turned into a pop culture salad. He shows up in Tokyo, speaking in codes. After being arrested, his friend Ando realizes it's not madness, but a message. He deciphers the puzzle and discovers they need to go to a psychiatric hospital in Florida. The duo is back in action. Samuel, for his part, is in New York on another recruitment mission. He uses Emma and her magical cello as a sort of human sonar to find Ian, a man with the power to create plant life. Back at the carnival, Samuel takes Claire, who had been captured by Eli, out to the desert. There, he reveals his trump card. Ian uses his powers and transforms the arid landscape into a lush oasis. Claire is speechless, admitting it's beautiful. Samuel's power of persuasion is undeniable.
Just remember, you're free.
But reality comes knocking. Claire listens to a voicemail from Peter. The news is devastating. Nathan's death has been revealed to the public, disguised as a plane crash. The fantasy of the carnival shatters, and Claire is pulled back into her old world. Noah and Peter arranged everything. Claire is furious with her father for another lie. During the reception, Sylar, more psychopathic than ever, attacks the carnival. He tries to kill Samuel, but for some reason, he can't. Samuel retaliates and nearly rips his face off. Peter, consumed by grief, becomes a vigilante and goes to stop a robbery, where he ends up getting shot. Claire, who followed him, serves as his first aid kit since he copied her healing power.
I guess this is a good ability to hang on to.
Meanwhile, Sylar, confused about his inability to kill, is manipulated by Lydia, but sees through her game and steals her power. In the end, he leaves the carnival and appears flying outside Claire's window, delivering his classic line.
Hello, cheerleader.
Noah takes over the narration, worried about how to protect Claire from evil without losing her. He and Lauren, his longtime partner, are hunting Samuel and discover an old flame of his, Vanessa. The plan? Use the girl as bait. To do this, Noah goes to Matt Parkman's house, who is now a family man, trying to live a normal life. Noah plays the "they might come after your son" card and convinces a reluctant Matt to help. On the other side of the country, Peter is drawn in by Emma's music. He notices her cello has the same carnival compass and warns her of the danger. Things get weirder when his mother, Angela, arrives and freaks out upon seeing Emma, saying she dreamed that Emma would cause the deaths of thousands. Peter, fed up with secrets, takes his mother's power and sees the vision. Emma playing at the carnival, weeping, while Sylar appears to save her. In a panic, Peter goes to Emma's apartment and smashes her cello to pieces. Meanwhile, the most bizarre rescue mission in history takes place. Ando takes Hiro to a mental hospital in Florida and discovers that Suresh is also there, completely doped up. While trying to swap the meds, Ando accidentally swallows the sedatives and starts sparking, totally high. Suresh, recovered, breaks free with brute force, and the trio escapes. With Hiro's brain still scrambled, Suresh has a crazy idea. Give him an electric shock. Ando complies, and just like that, Hiro is back to normal and teleports them all away. The trap for Samuel goes wrong. He uses his powers to create a dust storm, grabs Vanessa, and vanishes off the map. He takes her to his private paradise, but the reception isn't great. She finds it all a fantasy and just wants to go home. The rejection of the century. Noah finally gets a romantic moment with Lauren, but their kiss is interrupted by Hiro, Ando, and Suresh, who appear out of nowhere in the middle of the living room.
Oh, sorry to pop in like this.
A story split in two. On one side, we have Sylar trying to have a forced therapy session with Claire. He corners her in a classroom, telling her they're the same, adopted, with murderous parents, and immortal. He wants to understand why he became a psychopath, and she didn't. Claire, out of patience, stabs him in the eye with a pencil and runs. But Sylar doesn't give up. He tricks her with an illusion, making her think Gretchen has been kidnapped. In the end, he just wanted her to admit that she also builds walls and is afraid of being alone. Claire realizes that for Sylar to become human, he needs to get rid of all his powers. On the other side, Hiro is in a coma, living through a trial inside his own mind. The judge is his father, Kaito, and the prosecutor is Adam Monroe. The charge? Breaking the hero's code by altering time for personal gain. Witnesses from the past, like Sylar, appear to accuse him, saying his actions cause hundreds of deaths. Meanwhile, in the real world, Samuel gets brutally rejected by Vanessa. She turns down the dream cottage he built for her, saying it's his fantasy, not hers. Humiliated and furious, Samuel loses control. He goes to a nearby small town and in a fit of rage uses his powers to open a gigantic sinkhole that swallows the entire place. Back in the dream, Hiro is found guilty, and in the hospital, his heart stops. But at the last second, he decides to fight for his honor. He faces Adam Monroe in a sword battle and wins. The light at the end of the tunnel isn't death, but his mother, who appears to heal him. Hiro wakes up in the hospital, smiling at Ando. Claire and Gretchen finally connect, holding hands. Sylar knocks on the door of Matt Parkman's house, finding his wife and son alone. Samuel steps out of his trailer, stylishly wrapped in a blanket, and faces his people. The vibe is not good. He asks Lydia where everyone is, and she gives it to him straight. The carnival is closed because everyone saw the town he destroyed. Samuel mockingly calls her the wet blanket who replaced Joseph, and complains that everyone follows her now. She says it's because no one respects him anymore. He vows to do whatever it takes to prove his worth. Meanwhile, Peter wakes from a sinister nightmare, Emma playing the cello, blood dripping from the strings, and Sylar appearing to save her as chaos erupts. He calls his mother, Angela, who confirms she had the same vision. Matt Parkman arrives home to find Sylar in his kitchen, casually chatting with his wife as if they were best friends. Sylar claims he's changed and wants Matt to take away his powers, which are driving him crazy. To motivate Matt, he makes a veiled threat against his family. Far away, Claire discovers that her father, Noah, is back in the game with someone named Lauren, investigating Samuel. She's furious when she sees the footage of the buried town, and that he's gotten involved again. Annoyed, she goes back to the carnival to try to resolve things peacefully. Samuel pretends to be repentant and agrees to surrender, but it's all a trap. In the middle of the surrender, Eli the Multiplier starts shooting everyone. Lydia is killed, Noah is captured, and Samuel uses the chaos to play the victim. To top it all off, Matt tricks Sylar. Instead of removing his powers, he traps him in an eternal mental nightmare and begins to wall him up in the basement, Edgar Allan Poe style. But then Peter arrives, senses Sylar is there, and, to save Emma, enters his mind to rescue him. Sylar's mind is an empty metropolis like a post-apocalyptic movie set. Sylar thinks he's been alone in there for 3 years. Peter tries to explain it's all a mental prison created by Matt, and they've only been there for a few hours. After much talk, which feels like months to them, they find a giant brick wall, the only way out. Meanwhile, Claire and Noah are trapped in the carnival's House of Mirrors. To mess with Claire's head, Samuel uses a guy who can show memories. And then comes Noah's complete dossier. In the 80s, he was a car salesman, had a first wife who was killed by a special, and that's why the company recruited him. Claire discovers that even her parents' marriage was arranged. Her trust in her father is shattered. Samuel then reveals his evil plan to Lauren. He's going to take the carnival to Central Park in New York to reveal himself to the world. He wants to be powerful enough to move mountains and rule through fear. Back in the nightmare, Sylar finally accepts that he needs to change. This moment of redemption gives them the strength to break down the mental wall. They wake up in Matt's basement, but the joy is short-lived. Samuel confronts Claire, and as punishment for her not siding with him, he uses his powers to bury the trailer with Noah and Claire trapped inside. He sinks the trailer deep underground and leaves for New York, leaving them both to suffocate. Just as the air is about to run out, Tracy Strauss appears, transformed into water, and rescues them like an aquatic superhero.
You can swim.
No sooner are they out of the ground than they're on a helicopter to New York to stop Samuel. At the same time, Peter and Sylar wake up and defeat Eli's clones. Peter reads the guy's mind and learns about the Central Park plan. And Hiro, he wakes up healed, finds his old love Charlie, now an old woman who lived a happy life, and understands he can't change her past. He and Ando set off for Anhui Tai. In the park, Samuel forces Doyle, the puppet master, to control Emma. She plays a cello that draws a crowd, but is also designed to kill them. The showdown begins. Sylar saves Emma, proving he's a hero.
I'm a hero.
Claire, with help from Edgar and an Eli controlled by Matt, exposes to the entire carnival that Samuel killed his own brother. The carnies all abandon him, and he loses his powers. Peter, who copied his ability, defeats him easily.
Nothing without me!
To be safe, Hiro teleports all the innocent bystanders far away. Samuel is arrested, and the government concocts a cover story about a gas leak, but Claire is sick of hiding. In front of all the news cameras, she climbs a Ferris wheel and jumps. She splatters on the ground and gets up as if nothing happened, her bones healing in front of everyone. She smiles and says,
My name is Claire Bennett, and this is a temp. I guess I've kind of lost count.
The world now knows that people with powers exist. Sylar, watching the scene, sums it all up. It's a brave new world.